And when I say personal sharing, I should actually make it a bit clear that my career is not actually that long. It's roughly 4 years after I joined in Newcastle University, or around 5 years after my PhD. But I believe over this short span of my career, I have learned some good lessons, and some of those are related to collaboration. So that is what I expected to share today. So without further ado, I will start. So right at the beginning, I just wanted to show you the basic definition or formal definition of collaborative research. I mean, you will find many versions of this definition if you search online. I have just picked 2 of those collaborative definitions, just some idea from those description. So usually, as I said, collaboration happens to be, in the past, collaboration happens to be within the university, within the department. But over the times, people now started to collaborate outside their university zone, outside their country, which is mostly happening because of the advancement of technology, increasing of the globalization and all those facts. I'm not going over the detail of the definition here. It's recorded, or all of you know all those things. So I'm not going over those details. But what I wanted to highlight is that the idea of collaboration is widely recognized. Most of us will know what is it. However, its characteristics, benefits, drawbacks, and efficiency of collaborations, all those things are seldom the objective of systematic investigations. If we search, if you want to try obtain more information by searching from the research database and all those things, you will not find many information on all those issues. Most of this fact we normally learn through experience sharing, and mostly from the experienced researchers and from experience of other researchers. Okay, but it is actually happening very rapidly nowadays, and collaborations, happening in a very larger scale. For example, in our university, some of our colleagues, they are working in a project which is spread over 12 countries and roughly 20 collaborators, 20 universities. And I have seen some collaborations even larger than this. But another fact, it is not always, true or effective that if you have so many collaborators. So that's a different issue. So after the formal definition, I wanted to show you 2 graphs just to give you a brief idea how the nature of collaborations or how the collaborative research trend look like at this stage. Those graphs are actually slightly older. It took that data until 2018. So it is actually a comparative study done by some researcher in a very recent time. If you can see the reference, is published in 2020, so it's still very new. So the first picture, if you see the red line, which is kind of like increasing very rapidly, it shows the number of researcher, the number of authors in a paper per paper, roughly. So if you see nowadays, the average number of authors per paper is roughly 7, which is quite a lot. Definitely, which indicates that a lot of collaboration things is happening. So if you compare to 1980 and now, it's a very rapid increase. And here is another one which shows you the number of papers which are published based on international collaborations. So percentage increase. So if you see in 2018, the percentage increase is roughly 25% compared to the last year. So you can imagine how rapidly the collaborative work or research is increasing over the years. So this paper or this data they considered is only from, not only actually from 41 most productive countries or regions who are active in research. And if you want to know more, you can check the paper. And actually, if you search online, you will find a lot of similar kind of study. So what I wanted to highlight here is that the rate of internationalization is growing rapidly, which is mostly happening because of the unhindered communication channels and inexpensive traveling. So in universities now worldwide, they are already seeking to make the most of these possibilities and trying to create partnership, fostering relationship with other institutions. Okay, so that's the most formal part. So let's come back to the talk today. At the beginning, I want to set the expectation for the talk. So let's say if we kind of like consider the research recognition along this axis, which means as I progress in my research career, I should be towards the more right of this curve. I should be somewhere here. And if I consider collaboration experience along this axis, so which means if I am a very expert collaborator, I should reach somewhere here. Along these two axes, so if now I consider the early career researcher or the research students, and in most of the scenarios, they will be sitting somewhere here with a very low research recognition and very little experience on collaboration. I'm saying it is most of the cases, right? But there are some exceptions. There are some good early career researchers who are doing very good. In fact, they are doing better than a lot of expert researchers. So that's a different issue. I'm talking about more of the normal trend. And in the same way, those who are accomplished academics, they are supposed to be sit somewhere here. So, which means if we want to talk about research collaboration, we can take two approach, two viewpoint. One viewpoint focusing on the need of these early career researchers, focusing on this group. And another point of view might be focusing on these accomplished groups, how they achieve, how they can help the other group, or from their point of view. So today, what I will be doing, I will be actually focusing on this early career researcher group. I will be going to talk from their point of view. I mean, how they can nurture or how they can kind of like think about collaborations and how the success could be look like and what will be the difficulties we need to face, how we can overcome. Roughly a bit of all those things, and most of these things should come from my experience. Okay, so you can expect a very boring presentation, I should say, probably. That's why before we go further, let's start with a story. So let's say it's ice breaking. We'll start with a story. And this story is actually a very well-known tale from our childhood. I believe all of us who are present here is very familiar with this story. However, I will present it here in a different format. Okay, but there is a chance maybe many of you might be familiar with this modified version of the story as well. But I guess there is no harm listening to it again as a memory refresher. Maybe it will give us something to ponder on. So let's begin. So as you know, once upon a time, there was a turtle and rabbit. They had an argument, who is the faster. The rabbit said, I am the faster. The turtle said, no. Then the rabbit said, okay, let us decide over a race. So they set up a race boundary and they started running. After immediately starting the running, after going halfway, the rabbit feels that he is way ahead of the turtle, right? So he, as we know, he thought, okay, maybe I can take some rest because the turtle is very far. It doesn't matter, he can never reach me. Okay. So he was taking rest, and by that time, the turtle, he or she was working very hard, never stopped, and slowly, continuously, somehow he managed to reach the end of the race while the rabbit was still sleeping. And when the rabbit wake up, he found that he lost the race. Okay, so the moral of the story that we learned in our childhood, it was slow and steady wins the race. So that was the version we know to. But now we will continue. As those time when we were young, our life was simple. Everything was very less critical. Now everything becomes sophisticated. So the story should evolve. The story should get also critical, right? So we will continue the story. So after losing the race, the rabbit started to think. He analyzed the situation and he tried to find the case or cause why he failed. So what he understood, it's his negligence, his overconfidence, carelessness, which kind of like resulted his loss. So what happened? He went to the turtle again and said, let us race again. I want to try it one more time. The turtle said, okay, no problem. Let's try again. Okay, so this time the rabbit took no chance. He continued running without any interruption, and obviously he won the race in a very shortest time, even when the turtle was just near the starting line. The rabbit finished the race. Okay, so what could be the moral of this version of the story? Of course, the slow and steady can win the race. There is no problem with that. But fast and consistent will always beat the slow and steady. Definitely, it is good to be slow and steady, but it is better if I can be fast and reliable. If in an organization there are two people, one is slow, methodical, and reliable, and there is another guy who is fast and is still reliable. So what will happen? The fast and reliable guy, definitely he will consistently climb the organizational ladder faster than the slow and methodical person. Okay, but the story is not ending here. We will continue a bit more. So after this second race, the turtle now understood he can never win the battle, or he can never win the race against this rabbit. First time he won by chance because the rabbit was sleeping. But in a normal condition, if the rabbit worked properly within his ability, the turtle might found out or thought that he can never own the race in this current format. Right? It is impossible for the turtle to win the race. No matter how hard he tries, he cannot beat the rabbit in the same route if they continue the same racing route. So now the turtle came up with a plan. He come to the rabbit and said, let us take this race again, but now we'll take a slightly different route. We'll follow a different track for our running. And the rabbit says, okay, fine, I agree. So this time they started running again. And obviously the rabbit, it was going faster. But when it was continue its running, it came across a river. So according to the path of the race, the rabbit had need to cross this road, across this river to win. Now what happened? The rabbit, let's say he don't know how to swim. So he was sitting on the bank of the river and was thinking how to cross the river. And by this time, the turtle slowly continued to come near the river. Then turtle know how to swim, slowly cross the river, go to the other side, continue running, and reaches the finishing line. And the rabbit was still thinking on the river side how to cross because he don't know to swim. But he didn't do any, fault. There was no fault from his side. He tried his best, but still he was unable to finish the race. Okay, so this third race, what should be the moral this time? Is what the turtle did. What he did, he identified his core competency. Then he changed the playing field to suit with his competency. So that means if I can find out what is my strength and if I can work on my strength, I will not only get noticed, but it will also help me. It will also give me the opportunity to growth and advantage. A very simplified example, if you want to say, in an organization, let's say if I am a good speaker, I should look for opportunities and I'll try to create opportunities which will give me chance to present. That will enable me to do something which the senior management will notice. If my strength is analysis, I have to make sure, or I have to take part in something which involves a lot of research, making report, which will go to upstairs and I will get noticed. So it's always finding the core competency where I can do good. Okay, so but this story will continue again a bit more. And I promise this is the last portion of the story. That fourth race, they will be running fourth time, and this will be the last one. Okay, so this time over these 3 times of racing, the rabbit and turtle, they become friend, they started to think maybe we could have a better race if we could collaborate, if we can help each other. So now they decided to run the race one more time, but this time they decided to help each other. So what happened? This time when they first started running, the rabbit took the turtle on his back. They continue running in a faster pace. They reached the river bank. Now the rabbit sit back on top of the turtle. The turtle helped to cross the river. Once crossing the river, the turtle again go back to the uh, go on the back of the rabbit and continue running, and they together reach the finish line in a much faster and in a much efficient way. So from this last version of the story, we can say it is good, there is no harm to be individually brilliant and to have a strong core competency. That is nothing wrong. However, collaborations can give us more power. So just imagine in a group, if you have a good working team and if you can harness each other's core competencies, definitely the group or you will perform always better compared to others. But that's why you see in a lot of cases worldwide, a lot of people, they are advancing because they are working on a group. Whereas if we compare our country or country in similar conditions, we're way behind in terms of research and all those things, and because of lack of these things. So, and that this teamwork and collaboration, as we have demonstrated through the story of turtle and rabbit, it's actually a matter of situational leadership. So situational leadership means we have to let the person with relevant core competency to lead the situation where it is more efficient. I should not lead everywhere if I don't have that capability. I should let it handled by the person who is more capable of doing that. That should be the main thing of collaboration or creating collaborative work. And then some more, bullet points to summarize. Sometimes it is appropriate to work harder and put more effort. There is no wrong. But sometimes it is appropriate to change a strategy and try something different. For example, imagine the situation in the normal race situation, no matter how hard the turtle tries, he cannot defeat the rabbit. If the path is straight, there is no river, there is no other difficulties, the rabbit will always win. So there is no point for the turtle to try harder on that research track. He will never be able to defeat the rabbit. So that is the point, that is the sometimes when it is appropriate to change the strategy and try something different. So we have to be able to identify all those things inside us. When is the sometime, which one is appropriate for that time? But sometimes it is appropriate to do both, okay? And the good thing is that in the story, in all the several versions, if we can see, neither the rabbit nor the turtle, they gave up after failures. Rabbit, after the failures, he know that it is a sure win for him. It's only his negligence. So he solved his negligence. But for the turtle, he knows that it is not his negligence. It is the problem with the definition of the racing pattern or the racing route. So you have to work on that. But anyway, so you have to either play with a strategy, you have to try work harder. So you have to identify, we have to identify our strength. Later I will have a bit more about this issue, so we will see more on that. But the important thing is that we have to learn when to switch. That is a very important lesson. And another one, so when we stop competing against rival, as the turtle and rabbit did in their last race, they stopped competing against each other. They started competing against the situation. What is the situation? Normal solid road, rabbit can move faster than the turtle. So he took the turtle on his back. Near the river, rabbit cannot go over the river. So he give the leadership to turtle and follow him. So they are competing against the situation, not competing against the people. Okay, so they perform better. Okay, so that is, so it is actually, this story is very much related to collaborations. I took it from internet. I forgot the source because I took this story during my PhD study. I kept the slides, but I forgot to take the reference at that time. But I hope if you find modified rabbit story, you will find it. And never give up when we face failure. That's one lesson. Then fast and consistent will always win the race, and we will always beat the slow and steady. And we should work to find our competencies. We should work on that, and we should try to work against the situation, not against the rival. It is unfortunate that in many situations we usually miss this point. We think that we should work against my colleague or against other universities, but nowadays actually it's not a good strategy. We cannot go far because somewhere around the world, around the globe, somewhere some other people, they are working together. They will definitely beat me. I mean, there is no doubt about that. So pooling resources and working as a team will always beat individual performer. Okay, so it looks like a sweet story, but actually in real life, this journey is not a, the very smooth path. It's not a bed of roses or all those things we say. You have to go through a lot of ups and downs. That's a different part. But the core essence is that collaborations can be really very effective if we can do it in a perfect way. Okay, so let us now go over with the boring part of the talk for some 20, 30, 40 minutes. Okay, we'll start. First of all, the first questions that will come in our mind, why should we collaborate? So in a broader sense, apart from the obvious benefit of improving university profile, there are actually a few more reasons which might motivate us to pursue collaborations. So the first thing is that advancement of communication tool, coupled with other societal and technological changes in the last decade, actually that thing has created a radical change in the way we view the traditional academic research culture. Okay, with the extensive access to broadband internet, mobile technology, all these things have simplified the collaboration process. We have a lot of advanced tools nowadays for collaboration, to do the work together, to share the work together. So all those things, it is now encouraging people for inter-institutional and cross-country level collaborations. Okay, and the advantage of information technology definitely dismantle kind of like all those boundaries between the research community, even the academic institution and industry. They came much more closer these days. Industry research is nothing kind of like very weird or unexpected thing these days. Maybe in our country still industry are not that active in research, but outside it's actually very expected thing, expected trend. Okay, then another reason why should we collaborate? So the first reason for collaboration, first two reasons is that it's now easier. It's easier, it's simple. Within minimum effort, you can actually start a collaboration if you can plan it properly. So why not you should try? Okay, you have a lot of resource, you have a lot of platform, you need to learn, you need to explore. The second obvious, need for collaboration is that previously all, you see different, different knowledge, field of knowledge, they were very distinct. There were some set boundaries. But over the years, those well-defined boundaries separating one academic fields from another, they are kind of like diffused. They are now kind of like overlapped. Now, a lot of departments, they are interdisciplinary. They are having interactions, which are resulting in more advanced, cutting-edge, multidisciplinary research. So in this kind of situation, collaboration is actually inevitable. If you don't go for collaborations, you will lose your edge, you will lose your chance. Okay, so collaboration is an essential element for a successful career, if you think from that point of view, interdisciplinary nature. So when we talk, maybe it's a bit difficult to understand why I am focusing so much on this point, that research are becoming interdisciplinary, why we need to keep that in mind and start collaboration. I will give some example from my career perspective, as I promised. So I am from naval architecture, ocean engineering background. My core research is related to fluid structure interaction, CFD, design of ship, and all those things. Right? These are my core areas of research. But very recently, uh, apart from, as you already have heard, I got a very prestigious research funding, but that is different. Very recently, I applied for another funding, which is already in the second stage, and I am very much hopeful I get that. That is also a bit very prestigious. But the point is that project, we proposed, offshore, to harness offshore renewable energy from, it's nothing new. The idea of harnessing offshore renewable energy is nothing new. We all are familiar with it. Wave energy converter, solar panel, offshore floating solar panel, offshore wind farm. We all know those concepts. But we kind of like customize this concept for a particular country in Asian region. So I will not be going to disclose that much. But the main thing is that when I applied for this funding, I had to collaborate with electrical and material engineering division, the people from electrical engineering and material engineering. Because my expertise is on floating platform, how to devise, how to calculate the wave force, let's say other things, how to calculate the efficiency of the structure, how to model the fluid structure interaction. But I need someone who has a good knowledge how we can handle the converted energy. I need someone who can handle the material part, who can design the material properly for this purpose and all those things. So we had to collaborate with these branches of people. Then another idea or project or research that I'm trying to do is predicting ice motion. That nowadays people are trying that ice route through the north side to avoid longer ship route through the south side during the summertime. So for those kind of uh, traveling or ship movement, it will be good if we can predict the ice motion next year based on the data we have for the last 20-30 years. Then the ships for the normal shipping routes, the ship are following some routes, right? And they are going from, let's say, Singapore to China, or from Singapore to the Middle East or USA. They're following some routes, and the offshore environment continuously changes. The wave, wind, everything changes continuously. So if we can set up some system which can continuously monitor those things and give us better suggestion, it will help to save us fuel. So for these kind of things, we are implementing artificial intelligence, machine learning, which means either we have to build up expertise on computer software engineering, all those sides, or we can take help from them. Our specific tasks will be guiding them with our data, collecting from our point of view, and they will help us to implement the artificial intelligence and machine learning point. So that is again a collaboration. Then we have projects related to shipbuilding, offshore development, market analysis, analyzing the safety of ship decommissioning. That means how we dismantle the ship, all those shipbreaking yard. So that's the project actually we get from the Royal Academy of Engineering recently. So that project, it will involve business analyst. It will involve people from sociological background for research. It will also involve people from safety point of view to do research. Those people who do research from those point of view. And last but not the least, this COVID impact, like all other field, it has impact the shipping. So shipping means what we do, the shipping through water is kind of like more than 90 or 80% of the world good is transported through the waterway. So it is a great impact. Then the design of hospital ship, which is actually nothing new. It was actually also an old concept, but now it's kind of like an idea which is reviving. Then the operation of ship, how you can successfully operate the ship, maintaining the safety of everyone. So all these facts have initiated new dimension of research on health science, statistics, business, or even involving maritime law. So my point highlighting here is that if I had kept myself within the core CFD or ship design, I will have missed all this opportunity, all these side opportunities. So that is where the interdisciplinary collaborations coming in. And I'm certain and I believe if you explore, no matter which division, which department you are, you will find something is going on with interdisciplinary nature. It is a must, you will find it. Okay, so let us continue. Then collaboration will give you better access to expertise, equipment, and resource. Here I will give you two information. One of our recent funding application in Indonesia, actually, which is related to the implementation of offshore renewable energy. You know, Indonesia, they have a lot of island. It is very difficult to expand the power grid through this island structure, right? So what we are proposing, you know, that the idea of, as I am saying, renewable energy is not new. But what we proposed, we said the UK part or the European team, they will help the local people to build up their small micro offshore floating grid, power grid, for let's say 2 or 3 island together. They will build up a grid, and our target, we will teach the people there how to build, how to maintain, how to take care of this entire system by their own. So that is the technology transfer, right? Access to better expertise, resource. So that's how the Indonesia will get benefited. So they gave us that access. Okay, then another example, I will not be saying the name of the university or anything, but very recently from Bangladesh, some students, they visited some lab here in a university in Singapore to do some cutting edge research. Actually, those research are very good. They are working with some protein, how to change some food structure. I'm not that familiar, but something related to improving the quality of food or quality of fruits. Maybe I forgot, by doing some genetic modification. But so what Singapore did, they give them the access, and the student, they get the opportunity to travel. Of course, they travel Singapore, they travel Indonesia at the same time, and they also get the opportunity to do some collaborative research. And they were undergraduate students, and this collaboration might later help them to get a PhD here in Singapore or maybe somewhere else around the world. But it is ensuring, it is giving us better access to expertise, equipment, and resources. These are not fairy tale. What I am saying, everything is for experience. But definitely, establishing this collaboration might not have been easy for that Bangladeshi faculty. He had to spend some effort. He had to pursue. But at the end, it happened. Okay, then better access to fund. As I was saying for one of our project, recently the funding was supposed to come to Singapore. Definitely it will come to Singapore, but we are showing, we will spend it in Bangladesh. And our point of view was that comparing the low, the low cost, low salary structure in Bangladesh, we can get the same benefit. We can invest more, we invest on more people, we can engage more expertise, more students to do the research, and we can get more output out of small budget compared to spending in Singapore. So believe me, there are a lot of funding agencies nowadays outside in England, or it's in Europe, it's USA. They are interested in a lot of collaborative projects among these country areas, like our country Bangladesh and some other developing countries areas. They want to do research, but you have to give them that level of confidence. You have to build up the collaboration, which will definitely take time. It will not happen over the night. You have to be patient, but those things happen. I will show you some example also in a few moments. And then obviously, to cope up with the modern research trend, I mean, for us, if we consider from Bangladesh point of view, or even from Singapore point of view, or from other point of view, other country, Malaysia, Philippines, even any country, it is not possible to have all the equipment, all the research expertise by yourself. Some universities might target to build one very specialized equipment, another university will try to build some other things, and they will collaborate. That's how the everything is going on around the world. Okay, so then there are some more points which I am not going to explain, improving institutional quality and blah blah. You are quite familiar with those things. So all these points I mentioned here, these are kind of like focusing on broader point of view. Now I will talk a bit about from individual point of view, how collaborations can help you or help a researcher from individual perspective. First of all, we know that scientific or academic research, it requires a diverse sets of skills and capabilities. And actually these skills and capabilities, it usually take time to develop. It takes a substantial amount of time to develop research capability. It don't happen overnight or within 1 or 2 days. So under these circumstances, when it takes a lot of time, if you can have an innovative idea and if you can collaborate with someone, it can actually give you opportunity to learn from other people. I should say why I put it here, because I have learned a lot of things with some of my collaborative efforts. Actually, I wanted to explore a lot of different research methods, data analysis technique, reporting techniques, and collaborations had helped me to learn those things. I mean, I just give a simple example. There is a tool called Microsoft Teams. Maybe some of you already know. In that Microsoft Teams, if you create a chat group and if you want to modify a document, you can actually work on that document. I mean, simultaneously, I can work from here. My partner can work from anywhere around the world. Even 2-3 partners can work together. And when I am writing, other people will see my name and they will see where I am writing, what I am writing. They will use different colors. So that is, I mean, definitely something I have learned and which is very effective. When we are having meeting, we just immediately modify the document. Maybe normal time we had to go through a few round of emails to agree on a draft. But now we are just brainstorming together. Within half an hour, we are doing something which might have taken 1 week. So in this way, I will share some more ideas which I have learned through this way. But before starting that collaboration, I was not aware of this tool. One of my collaborators, he told me about it, and then we started using it. So in this way, it will definitely help you to learn faster. Believe me, there is a lot of things to learn which I don't know. There is a lot of things. The world is changing very fast. Knowledge is developing very quickly, and we don't know a lot of things. Okay, and as an early career researcher, it is very important for your career growth to have a collaboration. I mean, definitely, if you think in a broader perspective, if you want to put yourself, so in a lot of situations, we don't think where I want to see myself after 20 years. I know it's a interview question. A lot of us know this thing like that way, but do we really think about something like that? This is actually very important. When you will think that kind of questions, it will give you will understand the effectiveness or meanings or necessity of all these points I am highlighting here. Okay, so as I said, then if the collaboration is not always about publication, I did a small survey. Later, I will share it with you also some results. But don't think collaboration is always about getting publication. Collaboration is actually something bigger than that, if it is successful. And actually today, I will mostly focus on collaboration part from international point of view for Bangladeshi colleagues or faculty members. But most of these things will actually occur, applicable from local point of view also. Your collaboration with local colleagues or students. But as I said, collaboration is bigger than the picture of publication. It will help you to boost your profile. It will help you to create connection, which is very, very important. Believe me, you will understand it later. Collaboration can help you to manage faculty job outside Bangladesh very easily. Maybe using your just whatever expertise you just have now. It is possible. There are a lot of universities around the world, right? If you can prove them, you are competent. If you have a very good collaboration with some of the guys in that university, I have a personal example of one of my friend. It happened. Okay, it's not that he went to USA, but he went to Malaysia as a faculty, some good university. He's not from engineering background, from some other background, but he had a very good collaboration with some faculty of that university for 5-6 years. And finally, he got an opportunity. So nobody never knows when the opportunity will knock you. It depends on you whether you want to keep that door open or you want to keep it shut and work on your own. I mean, that's why I'm saying collaboration is actually bigger expect. You should not always, expect that you will get something. Sometimes it might feel like you are getting nothing, but maybe after a few years, you will get something which is kind of like unimaginable and which you never expected. It's kind of like, you might say, it feels like a story or fairy tale, but as I said, I'm giving everywhere my personal reference and relevance, so it can happen. Nothing fairy tale here. Okay, then collaboration will create exchange opportunity, travel opportunity, higher study job opportunities for your students. If you can have some simple collaborations, later slowly you might be able to send some of your students in those universities for higher study. some university somewhere around in Malaysia and Indonesia and even in Singapore, they have collaboration with Kuwait. But I should say not much sustainable collaborations. But I mean, our private universities, they are doing very good nowadays. I am actually very impressed, to be honest. I went through the website of your university just to know about the university, how you operate, what kind of faculty are working, what kind of department you have, just to create the survey very briefly. And to be honest, I am very impressed, and I believe we will progress very. Our progress will be much more rapid if we can kind of like tweak, I mean, adjust some of our, operational area or some of our technique. I mean, we say that there is no point of, I mean, what we say in Bengali, the gadar moto khatar cheo, we have to be very efficient and we have to work smartly. There is no point of putting a lot of efforts, whether there are options to put it in a more efficient way. So we have to learn that efficient way. And obviously, from individual perspective, it will give you more prestige, visibility. And there are a lot of other points. I'm not going into detail. There is a very good blog post here. If you want, you can go through and you can learn more. Okay, then I want to go through the boring parts a bit quickly. And types of collaboration, I will not go into very details. You can just search in online, you will find more. Mostly there are two main types of collaboration. Vertical research collaboration means you will build up on something related to your own department, which you are already working. So you are kind of like progressing vertically, building up on top of some new knowledge, some existing knowledge. Okay, and horizontal research collaboration means you are expanding your base. You are collaborating with other people, other university or other department, interdisciplinary collaboration, which is a bit difficult. So for a early career researcher, as a starter, people always suggest vertical research collaboration, which is easier. And formation of collaboration team, you might have different combination, faculty between student versus student, from same discipline, from other discipline, from same university, from different university, from international faculty. So there is a lot of possibilities. So I'm not going into those details. You can search online and you can learn more about all those things. So now, before I talk about how should we search for collaboration opportunities, that it should be obvious question by this time now among the participants, especially those who are feeling a bit bored, I am not sure. So I should say, before knowing how to search for collaboration opportunities, I believe it is more important to know what do we need to initiate a successful collaboration. That is more important. That's my point of view. And because of this point only, many of us, we ended up in many stagnant or failed collaborative efforts. I am one example of that. Not for knowing this fact, I had a lot of failed collaborative efforts. I will explain to you also later. So that's why I decided that it is more important to know what actually we need to initiate the collaboration before how we should start. Because as an early career researcher, it is a kind of like very unlikely that somebody will contact me for collaboration. I have to go to someone. That is the most likely case, especially if you want to have international collaboration. There's very low chance someone will approach you. So I have to, I should not say I will make myself very humble, and I should not make me kind of like that I don't know anything. It's not like that. I have to be polite, I have to be humble, I have to understand the fact. I need someone to collaborate, but then they might not need me. But it doesn't mean that I don't know anything. I should not lower my self-esteem. Okay, so that is another important thing. Anyway, so the thing I will present here, I have adopted it from a journal paper whose reference you will see in a moment below. But for this framework, it can be applied in a lot of other scenarios, but I have applied it in collaboration point of view. For a successful collaboration, you have to have some vision. Okay, vision means what you want to achieve. That one have to be clarified, have to be very clear in your mind, and later when you will approach someone for collaboration inside his mind, this have to be very clarified. Then skill. You and your partner or collaborator definitely should have the definite skill. First, you will define the vision. Then, depending on the vision, you have to decide which skill you need, whether you have those skills. If you don't have, you have to adjust your vision. Everything has to be connected. After the necessary skill, you have to have incentives. The collaborators, you have to give him some reason, some very good reason, convincing reason why he or she will help you, why he or she will collaborate with you. What is the benefits for him or her? Okay, it's more important than what is the benefit of you. Okay, many collaborators will not care about your benefit. That one you have to find out. Okay, then after incentives, resources, whether you have enough resources. If you need software, if you need computer, if you need experimental facility, whatever you need, do we have that resources? And finally, action plan. It is very important thing, but it is mostly overlooked in a lot of research collaboration. But if you don't have a clear action plan, at some stage of your collaboration, you will see there is a high chance the collaboration will stop, because action plan was not set right. Who will do what? How will you do this? How will your partner will do that? Who will report to whom? How you will collaborate the response? I mean, the entire flow of the work. If you don't have the action plan, there is a high chance the project will stop somewhere in the middle. Okay, so now we will put all these things combinedly into some perspective. First of all, let's say you have a skill, you have incentives, you have resources, you have action plan, but there is no vision. You or your collaborator not sure what you want to achieve. So this collaboration, if you initiate, it will create confusion because it's clearly lack of vision. You will end up in confusion. What if you have vision, incentive, resource, action plan, but there is not enough skill necessary to do the job? Let's say maybe you have said, I know this, I know that, I know I have a lot of software knowledge. Your collaborator believes that. He might also say, I also have some expertise, but maybe in his mind, he was relying on you. Later, when the project starts, you will start to feel anxious because you actually don't have those skills. And same thing might happen from your collaborator side. If you had started something, but you thought, I don't have a skill, no problem, I will manage. But it might not happen. Then incentives. Okay, someone might agree with you for collaborations, but the incentive, what he will get, is not clear. Then definitely, believe me, at some point you will feel a bit of resistance from his or her side. He will not collaborate very willingly unless he can see his benefits. Okay, so in a lot of this kind of situations, collaboration will fail. Then you have everything but no research. You need software to run the simulation, you need computer to do the research work, you need some machineries. You don't have that, it will create frustration because you have all the things but you don't have the tools. Definitely it is a frustrating situation. And as I said earlier, if you have other things but no action plan, it will be a false start. And somewhere in the middle, you will find that it is restarting or it is not working properly. So only if at least you have something in each of these points, you can arrange it properly. That is the only time a collaboration, you can say at least you will get something, you will get some meaningful output. Whether it is publication, whether it is a good relationship, whether it is exchange of a student, I mean, some good relationship which might help you in the future, whatever it is, it will be meaningful if you have all these things together. So this slide alone itself actually can be a topic for a seminar discussion. So I just very briefly described it. So now I will move to some other discussions very quickly. So most of these things will be from my personal perspective. So definitely at the beginning, I want to highlight those who are involved in collaboration, very good. My presentation might not help you that much, but might help you to get some broader perspective, to change some of your mindset. But those did not start it, but thinking how I should start, I don't know how to do it and all those facts. Or I had so many failed collaborations, how I can improve. So why you are having failed collaboration, I have explained in my last slide. If you want to match, you will find a match there. At some point, I mean, whatever the failed, if you try to map with that, all those situations I have shown, you will find the reason. Anyway, so definitely collaboration is not easy. It's need a lot of change in your personality. It's more from my point of view, I am saying I had to change a lot of things in me. This entire slide is about me. You have to put effort, you have to work in a smart way, you have to invest. Some people might say collaboration is wastage of time, it's not investment. But I started to think like that also. But once I started to get the benefit, I now think definitely I tried, and those are not actually wasted, those are investment. Then you have to read a lot. There is no exception or no alternatives of reading. It is so very important. I want to highlight it again and again. Reading is very important thing. Okay, so then to make a successful collaboration, first thing is that we have to step outside of the comfort zone. It's our natural tendency. We always try to keep ourselves within our known region of the knowledge. Whatever I am good at doing, I always try to push it somewhere here, push it somewhere there to found something, do something, and sustain. That is the natural tendency. And it is good. It is good to have expertise in your own something, a very good expertise. But as I said, considering the situation nowadays, you have to step outside of comfort zone if you want to expand, if you want to grow. You cannot sit inside a room and think that you are covering the entire world. That will not happen. You have to go outside. You have to take the risk of getting collided with a car or bicycle, seeing people. So that is a effort. I mean, risk you have to take. You have to understand yourself. What is your limitation, or I mean, is it a limitation or is it an excuse? I will give you an example here, which I actually shared just a few days back with some of our group discussion with our alumni in Duet. Let's say you want to win a marathon. Okay, if you want to win a marathon, you know you have to run around 42 kilometers if you want to win a marathon. But let's say every day you are just practicing around 500 meters. You are running for 2-3 months, only 500 meters each day. Then when you go for the marathon, you will not be able to do it. After that, if you blame, I have tried my best, but I didn't win the marathon, that will not be a limitation. That will be an excuse. Because actually you didn't try. And the limitation, let's say you have some problem with your leg. You cannot run, no matter how much you try. You cannot run more than 1 kilometer, 2 kilometers. That's a limitation. Then you have to find out something else which you can do. Keeping this limitation in your mind. So what my point is that no matter whether I am the rabbit or I am the turtle, at first I have to make it understand myself. I have to clear it to myself. What am I? Then setting up goals is very important. I highlighted it because at some point of my career, I faced this problem. Near the end of my PhD, actually I was kind of like afraid. Somehow that frustration comes in my mind. I mean, I kind of like somehow get distracted. I became very afraid that I cannot do anything. I don't know how I'm finishing the PhD. Maybe it is luck. After the PhD, I will not be able to do anything meaningful. I need to find some job, just settle down, just pass my life. I had a feeling like that. So it is my supervisor who helped me to get the postdoctoral job, which is actually a very good job. I had the chance of working with so many industry project collaborations. But that time I was very confused. One good thing I did, although I was very confused, I tried to keep a very good relationship with all the people I worked. And those things actually helped me. Even in last month, I get some help from one of the industry people and to get some data from a shipyard. But that connections, I'm kind of like maintaining since my PhD time, not PhD, postdoctoral time from 2015. I have no other, purpose, but I occasionally give him an email. He is a Chinese, I give him Happy New Year message and all those things. Sometimes some chit chat, sometimes I send a WhatsApp message, how are you, how you are doing. That's something very simple, but it helped me to keep the connection alive because nobody knows when it will help you, and it helped me. Imagine I knocked him after 6 years for a help, but in between I had no connection. He might still help me, but that chance is very low. Anyway, So I was very confused. And so as I was saying, so after near the end of my postdoc period, again, because of my supervisor, he helped me quite a lot. I applied for this faculty job. And that one, I was also not that very sure of my confidence, whether I will be able to manage it or I will get it. But I got it anyhow. Then this was a very teaching intensive job. The first 3 years after joining here, I had to put a lot of effort on teaching, developing materials, and I was lost in my research. I'm not telling you guys to check my research profile, but I know, and if you want, you can explore. Between 16 and around 19 or 18, I had a gap in my research career. I had so many conferences, but those are not very good research things. I was kind of like out of the academic track. But slowly from 2018, I started to build up again in my confidence. I started to explore the collaborations. And here I will show you some summary. What are the things I am doing kind of like end of 17, from 2017. And from that time, it's kind of like a very big rock. I am trying to push it. Slowly, it took me some time, almost 3 years, to start that rock pushing. And finally, that rock is now rolling. I started to get some success. Okay, so I will go very quickly here. So we have to learn time management, and we have to learn to overcome fear. There will be a lot of difficulty coming in. So we have to learn how to overcome those things. We have to work smartly, as I said. We have to embrace the technology, those things which make our life easier. That will help save our timing. Very good example, when we write research paper, a lot of us still use manual referencing, which actually take a lot of time. Then productive reading. We should not spend so much time on Facebooking or reading all those unnecessary things. Every day, you should take aside some time. You should make a habit of following resourceful websites. All these tips are from my life. I tried to follow all those things from 2017. Some resourceful website. These will help you to generate ideas. There are more websites like this. Then following famous personality like Bill Gates. These will give you, broaden your viewpoint. This will help you to explore more ideas, more opportunities. Then reading journals, books, that will help you to kind of like broaden your knowledge, deepen your knowledge, spark creativity. Then keep a look on funding websites. No matter whether you are applying for funding or whether you are getting the funding, it will give you the ideas on recent knowledge, what are the things people doing recently, and all those things. Okay, so all these habits of reading, productive reading, we have to make it daily and recurrent habits rather than pulsating. I mean, what I'm trying to say, it's not like that you will say, okay, I will sit one day, I will read a lot of articles. It's not work like that. In a single day, you cannot eat 20 plates, 30 plates of biryani, and you will say that it will help you quite a lot. Okay, we have to keep our consistency. So all those things, if you do, you will not see any immediate visible change. Like the curvature of Earth. If you see it for a long distance, a small distance, 500 meters, you will not understand the Earth is curved. If you see it for a longer distance, 50 kilometers, 500 kilometers, you will finally understand the Earth is curved. So all these things will produce slow effect. Okay, now I will go very quickly, maybe within 5-10 minutes, I will finish from here. I know I am taking a bit longer time. I am very sorry for that. So establishing connections, how I developed or how I want to give the tips for the new researchers. We should make the habit for asking for help, sharing our ideas, notes, comments, LinkedIn, ResearchGate, blogs, there are a lot of platforms like that nowadays. Give yourself involved on all those things. Make people to notice yourself. This will increase your footprint. Let's say when I make some comments somewhere in ResearchGate or LinkedIn, if some students made a comment, if I have free time, I go, I check their profile. Later, let's say if the students contact me later, somehow maybe I might have a good impression about him, right? I might recall the interaction. Same thing goes for other collaborator professors. If I interact with some other professor somewhere who are in a very respectful position, high position, they might remember all those efforts. So make a good habit of getting involved, sharing your ideas, helping others, making comments in all those platforms. These will increase your visibility. Wherever you get chance, try to get the reviewer team of some known journals, not go for those predatory journals. Try to make yourself available for reviewing. Make some international committee level movement. Try to get involved. Whatever you can manage, whatever you can get. Try to be active always. Try yourself best. If you find someone interesting, try to initiate some email conversation with them. Ask for their research paper, share you some idea. Maybe you have prepared a paper, just ask them to review it and in exchange offer them co-authorship. It might sound very, why I did everything, why I will put him as a co-author. It doesn't matter. It's giving you the chance to go to a higher level. So what's the problem? There is no harm doing that. So this kind of thing will make you closer and closer. These things you will actually, as I said, will not happen in one day. You have to make a long plan, persistent effort. And how you decide whom you should approach, you have to do some background study. You have to do your table work, groundwork, go through their profile, check their activities, try to find with who the people with whom he interacts. Check if you can reach to some connections and very near to them, which is closer with maybe one of your friend or with some other connections. And remember, collaboration, we might think is many people have a misconception collaboration works between institute or university. Actually, if you see most of the successful collaboration or anything, it's always start from personal level, from personal approach. Okay, later it's move upward. So it has to be a start. University will most probably will never, I should not say actually never, very rarely will give you the opportunity to establish collaboration. You have to help the university to find it. Yeah, so that's why a lot of university value their staff. So it is very important. And most importantly, one thing we missed or we don't try in our country, a lot of faculty members outside around the world, they are from Bangladeshi origin or they have association with Bangladesh. Try to make some hook with them. It will help. They might make you kind of like, they might help you to get connection from other department. Let's say you are saying, I am from computer science. I have a friend in mechanical. How he can help me? He can help you to find some faculty collaborations in CSE, computer science. It can be possible. Okay. Then whenever, so all those things, some basic how you can approach people and all those things. Then when you are establishing connections, you try to establish your importance. You have to get yourself noticed. You have to clearly express what you can offer to them. Okay. At the very beginning, you have to make it clarify. Let's say those people who are established, they have their own technology, like the picture here. They are busy with their technology. If you can come up with something much more innovative, you cannot just go there and tell them, I have something, I can help. For example, in the survey, a lot of you said your biggest strength is your research capability for collaboration. But you have to demonstrate that. You cannot just say, look, I have it. People will not believe. You have to show them. Okay, you have to express what you can do, how you can do it. Then, what is your expectation and what will be their benefit? I wanted to explain a bit more here from my funding experience, but I'm already over time, so I will shortcut that one. But main thing is that we always have to invest in our relationship. Sometimes we should offer help without expectation. If you get able to manage a relationship with someone, some people might told you, can you help me to check my student thesis or work or paper? I did those kind of things, but I expected maybe they will put me as a co-author. But sometimes they did, sometimes they don't. So it doesn't matter. At the end, my gain is I am getting familiarization and people are going to know me. Okay. Then after having a good working relationship, when you feel like we can go for a collaboration, you have to offer them something. As I said, try with something that you have in your hand with the current project that you have, or with the extension of your published research idea you can start with. Or what I did in some of my cases, you can identify some funding opportunities. It can be local, it can be international. Okay, but then if you want to make some international collaboration on research call, there are some buzzing words in research world in your field. You have to know, for example, in our case, gender equity, ODA compliance, sustainable development goals. This kind of thing, when you write the paper, you have to write the project, you have to know about those things. These things I learned from one of my recent collaborations. I had, for a particular funding agency, I tried thrice in earlier 3 years. I failed, but this time I managed to pass the second stage. Now it's in final stage. That is because I could get some good suggestion from one of my collaborators. So this kind of things happens. You have to do this. So these are some quotes. One is very good. One is very positive. That means you can have. I also have some international collaboration with some people whom I didn't saw. I never meet them physically, but I have collaboration with them. But in some other cases, you might have to wait for a long time for a right moment, right opportunity to start the collaboration. Okay. And for identifying grant opportunities, actually this slide is very important. All the funding, I mean, names you have seen, I have documented here. I don't know whether you will believe it or not. Most of the Bangladeshi faculty members are eligible to apply here, but not directly. They need to find out a collaborator from those funding organizations in the country. You might say I'm in advantageous positions that I work for a UK company, but two of my funding applications, actually I'm not even eligible to apply because I'm kind of like based in Singapore. There are some, requirement or there are laws about all those things. But I found someone to collaborate with me. I did most of the job in one of our recent collaboration is still under evaluation. I did the most of the job, but I just put them as a collaborator, the lead collaborator. There is no harm. At the end, when I will get the project, when I will market it, nobody will ask who is the lead collaborator. They will know it is also a project of mine. So I kind of like would like to request all of you to go through some of these websites. I wanted to show one of these websites actually to you later. But if you go here, let's say in the Newton Fund, you will see even India, Philippines, even Kenya, they are doing collaborations using UK Fund. And if you go through this one, the Horizon program, you will find some Bangladeshi involvement project also. If you go to this UNESCO project, you will find some Bangladeshi researchers is taking advantage of this. Okay. So the thing is that what I am trying to say, everybody fails at some stage, but not everybody learns from the failure. The funding, if the my first funding that I got is very prestigious, but it is my 14th attempt. I have 13 failed attempts before that, and from every attempt I try to learn something. And my first few funding I applied without collaborator. Then I learned the lesson: without collaboration I cannot get funding. It's very absurd because nobody knows me. Why they will give me funding? I need someone known with my support. Then I had to change a lot of things in my writing style. I have to understand the keyword, as I said, gender equity, sustainable development goals. Writing collaboration report or writing grant application is an art that can be in many different talks. Okay, so all those things I try to learn, I try to apply. So it should be the way. Okay, then irrespective of success or failure, we have to keep the relationship alive. We have to keep it alive, keep it building. As I explained about my industry connection, we should keep investing if we see some possibility in the future. But one main thing, we should keep it a bit formal. If we make it very friendly, very informal, there will be a lot of clash. You might have to do a lot of work just as a respect from your collaborator. As I said, you should have a self-esteem. It's not like that you don't know anything. Maybe you are an early career researcher, but you should have dignity. There should be a formal establishment. Okay, no matter, you will find other collaborator, doesn't matter. If something goes very excessive level, very beyond of professionalism, you have to handle that strictly. Otherwise you will be a sufferer. Then all those things, especially for international collaboration, you have to follow all those things. Maintain the schedule, communicate frequently, keep minutes of meeting, follow all those things properly. Otherwise, if you don't follow, if you don't do all those things, it will be very difficult for you to market yourself in international level. Anyway, so as I said, that's good. I will escape all those things. Then understand, even collaboration, we have a lot of challenge we have to understand. Definitely we have to think, we have to take before the step, you have to think whether it will be good for you. You have to do the proper groundwork, whether the collaboration will help you to achieve something. But as a early career researcher, I don't think there is any harm of losing some time trying to establish some collaboration. Every failed attempt, you will learn something. So what's the problem? We should try. There is nothing to lose. Okay. So especially if you try to work for international project, sometimes international project moves a bit slowly. It's a bit tricky. And setting up meeting is a big mess. I sometimes attended meeting at 2 a.m. at night, but it's rare. But sometimes you have to agree that kind of clause. You have to be dynamic, and sometimes politics also affect. Okay, so all these things actually, yeah, I cut it in very short later portion, but everything is recorded, documented. Anytime you can watch, and any issues you can actually email or we can talk also. If someone think I can help, I will be very happy to talk. Okay, so that's the end. I will end up with a story. I'm very sorry for stretching it so much, but I think that's the end. So with a story. So this is a story where a father and son, they went for camping. The father took his fresh graduate son, who is a graduate of astronomy, for a trip on the hill, and they fell asleep under a tent after a tiring day on camping. They made a tent and fall asleep. After some time, the father wake up and asked his son and told him, look up and tell me what you see. They were inside the tent, so it was supposed to be closed. But when the son looked up, the son replied, I see millions of stars. Okay, that means something is happening. Then the father asked, what does that tell you? You are seeing millions of stars. What does that tell you? Then the son said, he took some time, he think about it. Then he replied, okay, maybe if I talk from astronomical point of view, it says there are millions of galaxies and billions of planets in the sky. And from weather or environmental point of view, I can say that tomorrow we should expect a very beautiful day. There might not be raining because there is no cloud. Okay, then he asked his father, what does it tell you, what you see? His father was silent for a moment, then he said, I think someone stole our tent. Actually, so both is right. You are inside a tent. So when you are seeing, you ask your son to see what you see, he is seeing the star and all those things because he is the expert on that area. So probably that's right comes in his mind that he's seeing a star and that means this. But the father was a bit upset. He wanted to express the bigger picture to his son that our tent is gone. Why you are not seeing that big picture? Okay. So this is adopted from a from a convocation speech by Indra Nui. She is the former chief executive of PepsiCo, which is actually the second largest beverage company. So I have some objective why I shared this. I mean slide. The thing is that not all of us see the world in the same way. So it doesn't matter whether I am the rabbit or I am the turtle, whether I am the expert or I am the novice. I always have my skill and I always can contribute something. No matter how expert my collaborator is, how much he knows, I might not enough capable or I might not have enough knowledge to compete with him, but I have something that might help you to achieve his objective. I should not feel that I don't know anything. So that is one of the objective I wanted to highlight here. Then we should always keep the bigger picture in front of us to guide us. So we should set a target, how I want to guide myself, whether I want to hide myself behind my excuse or whether I want to find out my true limitation and I want to plan a successful career or set up a target for myself. But definitely it will not be a bed of roses, but I have to spend time. Okay, then I wanted to share the survey data, but I will skip that part. I will highlight some point that I have seen. So most of the people, you said that they have some existing collaboration with departmental colleagues or colleagues outside in Bangladesh. Only two, I think roughly out of 50 responses, only two or four said they have some international collaboration. So that is a very good thing, but it should be more. And I asked, what is your biggest motivation behind collaboration? More than 50% says it's actually publication. But as I tried to highlight, collaboration is something beyond publication. Definitely publication will be there, but it is a cross product. We have to think in a bigger sense. It might give me something more than publication in some day. Okay, then nearly 46% said your biggest skill in collaboration is your research expertise. But as I said, if you say so, you have to demonstrate that one. I was expecting more on communication or networking skill. Maybe more people will say I am good in communication skill, I am good in networking. but that happened that might. One big reason is that in our country, we don't actually learn much about communication presentation in our undergrad level. So that is important thing. So that is the main thing. And the other survey I will share with Jinat. She can forward you. I'm very sorry. I wanted to go through, but for the time I will not go into it. Okay. So I just have one suggestion out of this, my entire boring lecture. Please make a good habit of reading if you don't have it, as I highlighted. That will help you in the long run. It is a very important good habit. If you see all the successful people in this world, they all have good habit of reading, starting from Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, and anybody you can think of. Okay. And let's say the survey, another objective of for me to create that survey was, if you want, actually, some of you from statistics or business department, that survey you can actually convert it into a research paper. If you make it if you arrange it in a more formal context, include some more university from around Bangladesh, some private university, some government university, make it a formal, because those data graph I shared at the beginning of my lecture, those are also kind of like output of some this kind of research. So even if any of you want to take a step, you can actually initiate a good research out of this. Yeah. Okay, so that's it. I am again very sorry for taking such a long time. I was hoping to finish within 1 hour, but I took 17 minutes more. But I hope at least there will be something which might help you to some extent. So that will be the end from my side. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for your time. So Jinat, yeah, that's end from my side. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your unwavering support and precious guidance to lead us to the successful research career. Now we will start the question answer session. So if anyone has any queries regarding this session, please, I would request you to raise your hand and ask your question. Okay. Dr. Monurujjaman, sir.
Munjurul Akhir.
Munjurul Akhir, sir.
Thank you very much for giving me the space. At first, thank you, the speaker, Dr. Abdul Hannan. Very knowledgeable and very learning speech I have heard. But I have one question regarding the collaboration. That is, when you talked about collaboration, you were saying that we have to collaborate in different aspects, considering several things. So my question is that when a researcher in his early career, he wants to make some collaboration, what are the types or what are the factors he has to consider in terms of whether it has to be a research from his part or his collaborator, or he has to do what type of does it have the criteria like writing, researching, or primary researching, or reviewing something, finding out some researches from the literatures, or what are the ingredients that an early researcher can place to a professional or primary investigator so that they can make a collaboration on that idea?
Okay. So may I know your background? I mean, from which department?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm Dr. Munjul Akhir. I am from the EEE department of University of Bangladesh.
Okay, so if you are from EEE department, you know that, because why I wanted to know this collaboration, I mean, how you will approach it, it varies quite a lot depending on from which sector you are and what kind of collaboration you are working. For example, from EE perspective, having a good, computing facility is a very big need for quite a lot of research. I think you know that, and having some good software. So I am known to some students or faculties who try to, contact some faculties, let's say in Malaysia or in Singapore, who have access to some good facilities and software. So they came up with some good research idea, analyzing the data or creating some platform. I think one of the idea was analyzing the signal, ECG signal or something, to find out some information related to anxiety or something. I am not expert, but which was a very good idea, and which he planned to do for the diabetic patients in Bangladesh. So he wanted to find some trend or something like that. Then the researcher here, he liked that idea very much, and he said, if you want, I can give you the space to do the collaboration. You can use my resource. At the end, you can do the publication, and I can help you to write. That's one approach. Another approach, I found another guy that is actually experienced from mechanical department, but it might be applicable to some. One of my friend who came for a conference in Malaysia, I went to that conference also. So I helped him to engage him with one of the faculty member from, University of Malaya. So that when they were discussing, suddenly that professor said, actually, I have some students, quite a few students. I think if you are interested, maybe we can start with that fact that you can help one of my students do some work and you can review his work. My friend, he took this very seriously and he tried his best. He kind of like supervised that student whole day. But at the end, he get no benefit. That professor kind of like forget, he did nothing. But somehow, after 1.5 years, that professor, suddenly I don't know what he thought. He find out a connection in the USA and he approached my friend whether he want to go for a PhD there. And he's a very good professor and he got that opportunity. But although even 1.5 years back, when he got the opportunity, he helped that professor student. That professor did nothing, but my friend, he didn't desert it. He still keep the communication. So what I wanted to highlight, actually, it is a very customized situation. You have to think at first what you want to offer. Then you have to find out what the other side need. For example, if that side needs some idea, they have resource. If you say, I have resource, I want to share the resource, they will probably not find it interesting because they need idea. Or if that side, they are very occupied with work, they need someone to help with revision, will go through the papers or helping the student to write. Then if you say that, okay, I want to help on that part, maybe they will be interested. Okay, so as I said, it is very customized. So you have to do some background research. And as the early career researcher, to start, one good platform is that at the very beginning, instead of trying you to start a collaboration, it will be very, very helpful if you can do it via someone. Electrical engineering is a very broad field. A lot of our Bangladeshi people or faculty members are all around the world. Try to find out some connection, ask them to help by themselves or help you to introduce with some faculty members. Try to understand what they need, what kind of things you can offer. As I said, you have to establish what benefit you can offer and why they will take that benefit. That is the most important thing. If you can make this straight, other factor in collaboration, you will be able to manage. But it is very difficult to make a customized answer because it's very situation specific.
So thank you very much. May I ask a complimentary question from
Yes,
your
sure.
talk that once you told that you have been out of your academic track for a certain amount, a certain tenure. So I just want to know in that tenure, when you came back, what was the biggest motivation, or is it, in other words, you got the opportunity to come back, or you were consistent trying to hold up in the academic career? What was the actual fact and what was the biggest motivation?
Okay, so the first thing, when I was just kind of like afraid, I started with the industry project. That time my supervisor gave me some teaching work. So when I was doing those teaching, I found those things quite interesting. And industry work, I started to find it very boring, repetitive work. Although teaching is also repetitive, but somehow I find it very interesting. Then my professor motivated me to take this teaching job. So after I started my teaching job here in our Singapore campus, our Newcastle, although Newcastle is very good in terms of UK research, strength. In Singapore, actually the main focus is teaching. So we actually have very limited capacity of taking PhD student on all those things. So when I was doing the teaching, as I said, I planned to develop myself. I made all those habit of reading, going through the funding website and all those things. when I was doing all those things, I wanted to try what is my strength. As I said, I was confused, so I wanted to find what is my strength. That time I noticed actually when I go through all those collaborative research projects or what people are doing, some of those ideas look like I thought about those ideas 2-3 years back, but now people are doing all those things. So in this way, I found several research work, what people are doing, but I felt I actually thought about those ideas randomly when I was working as a postdoc. Then it's come in my mind, why is not I should try to come back to research track? Why not I try to find some collaborative research idea? So at that time, that give me actually the motivation that I feel like I have the ability. If all those ideas which I thought people are doing those things, then definitely it means I can think of more ideas. So then I thought how I should approach because I have the lack. So I cannot say that I was confused and all those things. So I tried to make it in a good way and I approached the people for collaboration. I said that at first I went to industry to learn how the industry collaborative research works. I learned to handle experimental equipment, how to run project structure interaction, experiments, how the industry people think, how the government funding agency think. So those things gave me a lot of knowledge. After that, I came back to research teaching track. I could have started research immediately, but I thought as I am planning it for a long-term career, I should spend some time to establish my teaching career, developing my materials. So I took 2 more years to develop my teaching, and at the same time, in the background, I developed my research capability. And finally, I am now approaching you for some opportunity. So in this way, I try to convert all those my shortcomings and issues from positive point of view. And I guess those help me. And as I already said, in terms of motivation, the motivation was that when I tried to straighten myself up, I tried to find out what is my skill. And I found that probably I will be able to think about ideas and I have the capability of research. So that is actually the motivation that helped me to come back to that track.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
And now Ahmed Al Mansur, sir.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity. This is Dr. Ahmed Al Mansur, Associate Professor, Department of Tripoli. I have a question to our honorable speaker. Sir, we are working in a team in our department, and we are doing the research on renewable energy, especially on the photovoltaic and wind energy. So I have did my PhD on photovoltaic power maximization and minimize the losses. So I am asking a little bit thing that is there any know-how to you that who are doing research in Singapore or Malaysia or in any other countries who are wanted to do collaborative work with our team, because we have a team and we are doing continuous research.
Yeah. So yeah, I know some people, but I'm not sure how they can collaborate, but I can try my best. But one thing is that one of my recent funding application that I did involved the Indonesian team, which actually involved the generation of solar power from floating power plant. So unfortunately, I don't know, maybe we'll have some more opportunity in the future. If I could have known to you, or I could have in this seminar 6 months back, maybe I could have involved some of you in that team also. But no problem. I think in the future, definitely the opportunity will come. So, I think you don't have the email. I can share my email in the chat. If you can give me an email later, and I will try to, try to find someone who can help you, or at least you can start giving some email and starting some collaborations. I will try my best from my point of view, from my side. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your suggestions, and I will email you and contact you, inshallah.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so I have actually given my email in the chat group. I don't know, already we have spent so much time. So if there are any other questions, I am willing to take, or if no, if someone want to know more or have a discussion or even informal chat, I am fine to arrange some Zoom sessions or even the over the Skype call or WhatsApp, whatever possible. I will try my best to, help or to let you know some information from my side.
Thank you so much, sir. Now I would like to request our Honorable Pro Vice Chancellor, sir, Professor Dr. Mohammed Abdul Razzaque, sir, to share something with us regarding the session. Sir.
Thank you, Jinat. It was a mind-blowing session, I feel. Respected Vice Chancellor of the University of Bangladesh, the Honorable Speaker, Dr. Abdul Hannan, my dear colleagues from different academic departments, and I also noticed that some of our final year undergraduate students were also present in the session. I believe we have learned a lot from here, and we all know that research collaboration helps us in many ways, because for a successful research outcome, we do need many types of expertise, and it's very difficult to make it a contributory one from a single person or one or two persons only. And he rightly pointed out the need of the collaboration from multiple expert domains. He rightly pointed out the benefits of collaboration and setting a particular research program focusing not only on the areas in which it has touched, but also the sustainable development goal issues, gender equity issues, many other social issues are also sometimes are very much needed to apply a particular research outcome into application. I also learned a lot through research collaboration in different countries and with different research groups, and I believe that it was a highly motivational talk, and I really appreciate the efforts made by Dr. Abdur Hannan, and the experiences he shared is really valuable to our young researchers, young career researchers. So I believe by this seminar we do have a good relationship with Dr. Abdul Hannan as well, and definitely we invite you to visit the University of Bangladesh whenever you visit Bangladesh, and feel free to keep communication with us, and our faculty members will also keep in contact with you so that you can provide specific guidelines. And definitely from the Faculty of Science and Engineering, probably by now you have known that we do organize an international conference in December, this time also in December. Probably we are going to hold online presentation sessions this time. We call it International Conference on Sustainable Technologies for Industry 4.0. I found that you are also focusing on some research problems related to your area that needs artificial intelligence, machine learning, uh, uh, and data mining areas. So should you feel to incorporate the related experts, computing experts, you can also call for us. We do have people expertise in this area, and we are very much eager to enter into collaborative research works with the groups at home and abroad. And I believe it would be a good startup from here. And at last, I would again like to pay my special thanks uh, on behalf of the University of Bangladesh for delivering a nice lecture and help us to get practical experiences and an overall knowledge and understanding on the collaboration. That would be very much helpful. So thank you very much again. And I would also like to thank the coordinator, Jinat Sultana of Center for Research, Innovation and Transformation. She's consistently trying to introduce with us new people having diverse expertise, and I believe she will continue this effort in future days. And all the participants, thank you very much for your valuable time. With this few note, I would like to conclude here. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you so much, sir. It's time to conclude the session. So first of all, I would like to say special thanks to our discussant of the seminar, Dr. Mohammed Abdul Hannan, for his wonderful discussion. I also want to give thanks our Honorable Vice Chancellor Sir and Pro Vice Chancellor Sir to attend our seminar session, and all the other respected guests to attend the seminar. Thank you so much. I hope CREAT will arrange more seminar and lecture session in future. Thank you again. Thank you, sir.